What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
There is a small cut on his cheek.
What? He managed to land a blow on Sir Masayuki?
The murmuring continued anon.
Wait. I've got it.
One man screamed.
Sir Masayuki just gave the Demon Lord a reprieve.
What do you mean?
The Demon Lord declared he wants to be friendly with humans. You all know that, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's why.
The man smugly said.
What Masayuki did just now was give a warning to Rimuru.
It did sound oddly convincing, as much as it irritated me. That's likely why the people around the man started nodding at him.
I see. And that reminds me, Sir Masayuki didn't unsheath his sword this time either, did he?
Well spotted. You're right. That's his way of telling us he could win this tournament anytime he wanted to.
Right. And if the Demon Lord pulls any false moves, he's not gonna take that sitting down. That's what he's saying.
Probably. Of course, if they ever did fight, I bet he'd stop before landing a killing blow.
So he's willing to lose some face, just to bring the message across. What a wonderful young man he is.
That's the Sir Masayuki I know.
He's so cool.
They were starting to interpret this in very surprising ways. But soon, all of them were in agreement, singing Masayuki's praises like a church choir.
Ma-sa-yu-ki. Masayuki.
What the hell? Was this a religion or what? I felt like I was getting a glimpse into something terrifying. Masayuki answered the chanting with a raised hand as he exited. His motion was a bit awkward looking, which struck me as curious. What a strange kid. Why does he get all this praise heaped upon him?
Understood. It is believed that this is the effect of a unique skill possessed by the subject Masayuki Honjo.
Just when I thought some things in the world couldn't be explained, Raphael stepped up and explained them for me. I guess the professor was doing a little analytical work on him. Apparently, Masayuki's skill, when it takes effect, could manipulate the thoughts and feelings of people under its spell. He just forfeited the championship because he saw how powerful Gobta had become, I suppose, and given how he'd won over Bovix yesterday, I imagined Masayuki hadn't thought he could beat him, either. I thought back to his performance so far, based on this new assumption. As far as I could recall, it was like he couldn't even react to what his foes were doing, could he? No wonder he never took out his sword. I suppose the conclusion to make was that Masayuki himself couldn't fight very well. Hinata said she couldn't read his strength at all, and I could see why. There was no strength to read. Still, it wasn't safe to look down on him. If he could influence the people around him that much, making him your enemy could be seriously dangerous. Definitely not someone to trifle with. If anything, I think I need to stay on his good side. Maybe I could threaten him, like, I know your secret, nah. Just joking. I bet he was racking his brain figuring out how to deal with Bovix later. No way his friends would let him weasel out of that rematch. Maybe I'd offer him some sympathy. I could help prop him up as a hero, even. It'd certainly be helpful advertising the labyrinth challenge to people.
Soe, make contact with Masayuki and tell him I want to meet with him.
At once.
Keep it courteous, okay? If you could invite him to lunch after this, then perfect.
As a fellow native of Japan, I'd like to talk to him anyway. I'll ask Kakuro to whip up some sushi. Hopefully this hunch of mine turns out to be true. While I was thinking about Masayuki, Gobta was finally coming to. As he did, Soka and Diablo, after some deliberation, apparently decided to accept Masayuki's request.
Today's been a cavalcade of unexpected events, but with Masayuki's withdrawal, Gobta is our champion.
I could hear jeering from pockets of the crowd. Yeah, I'd be disappointed, too. Here we were, the big final, and we'd gotten a champion who gave up and a half-wolf who almost killed himself. If I paid good money to see this, I'd find it totally valid to demand a refund. Luckily for me, they were in the minority. Masayuki made that decision himself, and nobody was blaming me for it. I imagine Gobta proved his strength well enough that nobody was too dissatisfied with this result. Of course, Gobta was still the heel in everyone's mind, and with his antics today, that representative would be set in stone.
So, Gobta, how are you feeling right now?
Really? I won?
You sure did. And you really put in an excellent performance today.
Yeah, right. All Gobta did was trip over himself and get knocked out, and Soka was trying her hardest to reverend him up. Regardless, though, the fight was over. Afterward, I stepped back into the arena and gave out awards to each of the competitors, offering all 8 of them my thanks and praising their performances. I also gave Masayuki's friend Jinrai the set of equipment I'd promised him. Gaia said, "Give that to me, too," when he saw it for some reason, but we had no such agreement, so I ignored him. Masayuki also agreed to my offer of a meeting. He looked more resolute to me now, but he didn't have the wrong idea about this, did he? If there was any misunderstanding, I'd take the time to unravel it for him. That left Gobta.
You did well, Gobta. I hereby name you a member of the Big Four as of today.
He had taken a pretty rocky road on his way to it, but a championship was a championship. As promised, I appointed him to the Big Four, a title Gobta would no doubt find quite alluring. From now on, if he ever lost to anyone, I could just say, "He's the weakest of the Big Four." A disgrace to his team, and people would accept it. It was the perfect role for him, one that'd no doubt make Gobta seem pretty cute and charming. In fact, it was almost too perfect for him. Scarily so.
Thank you. I'll keep doing my best.
And with that, the first Tempest Battle tournament came to a close. If only it really was over for Gobta. But his personal hell was just beginning.
Okay, are we ready now? 'Cause I'm gonna start training him hard.
Milim was beaming at me when we returned to the VIP boxes.
Oh, sure. Don't overdo it, okay?
Nothing to worry about. He'll undergo my special training inside the labyrinth, so he can die all he wants to.
Ah yes, she could use it like that, huh? I wasn't sure Gobta would see that as much of a consolation. All I can say is, it's gonna be tough for him. Not even death would offer sweet release for him. Just thinking about it made me shiver.
Gobta, can we talk over there for a moment?
Milim marched right over to Gobta, and picked him up with one hand. There was so much strength focused on her arm, I was surprised I didn't hear any bones crunch. Milim was smiling, but her eyes sure weren't.
Congrats on the win. But that last match was pitiful. I'm not going to let that one slide. It's time to start training you.
Milim really enjoyed Gobta's transformation, which was why his subsequent lame-brained acts angered her so much. Her reaction made it clear that her expectations and excitement had been deeply soured.
You'll be facing off against me personally. You're gonna be stronger in no time.
Whoa, Lady Milim? I didn't ask for that.
Gobta was panicking. I doubted anyone was listening to his input.
This is a good opportunity for you, Gobta.
Hakuro said with a forceful smile.
I want you to put everything you have into training with her.
Master, are you selling me off?
Silence.
Milim said, shutting him down before he could finish. How cruel.
Don't make a disgrace of yourself like that, Gobta. This is all for your sake.
I wasn't sure Gobta was listening to Hakuro any longer. This was him getting back at Gobta for acting like such a clown in front of Momiji, I bet. It definitely wasn't for his sake. Thus, Gobta was now Milim's property. I turned my attention to the other party involved in this stunt.
My master, my teamwork with Sir Gobta brought us the championship.
Ranga ran up to me, abandoning Gobta without a second thought. Smart of him. He didn't want to get caught in the crossfire at all. Unfortunately, there was no fleeing from Milim.
Hold it. Ranga was your name, right? Gobta can't complete his training without you.
Ranga looked at me, his eyes pleading. Sorry, man. Once Milim gets an idea in her head, she tunes out everybody else. Besides, he was the one who went into battle without my permission, so he had this coming. I didn't see any need to help him.
Don't worry. I won't do you no harm.
And with that, Milim strode off, dragging Gobta and Ranga behind her. Really, I thought Gobta relied too much on his own good luck. That, and Ranga had a tendency to fight on instinct. If they could polish their skills a bit and work with each other more, that transformation could really be something formidable, you know? Milim must have thought to train them because she spotted that. Here's hoping they worked on that, bit by bit, and gained something concrete from it. I'd be expecting big things from Gobta, and Milim's the girl who'd bring him there. Farewell, Gobta. Farewell, Ranga. I'll never forget your courage. I vowed to say a prayer for them as I saw them leave with Milim. It was time for lunch, a lunch I'd now be spending with Masayuki. This was nothing that fancy, really. I told him I wanted to speak with him alone, the rest of his group could stand by in a separate room. We had a little trouble earlier, but I was sure Masayuki could smooth things over with them later.
Well, good to make your acquaintance, I guess.
My name's Masayuki Hanjo, and people call me Lightspeed and the hero and stuff.
He was blushing a bit. Yeah, calling yourself the hero in our old world would be about the most embarrassing thing ever. People would think you're a thoughtless moron if you tried it. I'm sure it made him feel creepy. That, and it looked like he was worried how I'd react to him. He remembered how he promised to defeat me, although that was mostly just his friends egging him on. This must have been awkward for him. I'm a demon lord, after all. He had to be scared out of his wits, fearing he'd picked a fight with a foe way out of his league. He was no doubt conflicted, but he didn't need to worry about me. I was ready to leave the past where it belonged, in the past. A nice meal together should help us work out our issues.
Yeah, I know we spoke before, but it's nice to meet you, too. I am Rimuru, a demon lord, but my real name's Satoru Mikami. I used to work for a building contractor.
Masayuki wasn't too keen on touching his food, so I decided to just blurt it out. I hadn't used that name in a long while, but it still felt like it fit me, a lot more than I anticipated. It wasn't like I was hiding it, I just never had the chance to use it much.
Huh? Are you Japanese?
Masayuki didn't quite seem to believe me. And yeah, I did look kind of like a cute little girl at the moment. I couldn't blame him.
Yeah, more or less. But let's talk about that over lunch, alright?
That finally inspired him to pick up his chopsticks.
This is okay for me to eat?
Of course. I had them whip up something Japanese for you.
Sushi and tempura were on the menu today.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to Jason Kenji, Rahul Subramanian, John Gonzalez, Azzy FR, Luke Devilax, Claire Bilato, Michael, Wilfred Miller, Sama Nisan, and last but not the least, shout out to Imdada115. I'll see you guys in the next video.